The world is opening back up. We are able to leave our homes. We can go to stores. We can do certain things without a mask on again. And with that, the opportunity for us to go and do a little bit more real estate activity with people, which also means we need to be a little bit more prepared. So this week on Level Up, we are talking about your Realtor Toolkit.
Building a successful real estate career requires you to adapt, pivot, and constantly master new skills.
We're Katie and Daniel Steinfeld. We've built our own innovative brokerage, and in this podcast, we've assembled actionable tips and strategies that you can implement to take your business to its maximum potential.
It's time to level up. Level up. Level up.
Level up.
Oh, man.
Welcome to another episode of Level Up. We've got some new technology in the house.
I feel like this might be one part of the toolkit that is not going to serve us well. Maybe it will. That was some awesome dancing. I need to get my groove up.
Like that?
For those of you watching the video, yeah, that was like the robot. I don't know what that was.
It looks like a broken robot.
It looks like someone just...
like it's weird.
That's, yeah.
Looks like my elbow's not even attached to my arm.
Well, you got weird elbows to begin with.
That's true.
All
right, so pointy. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, so we are now live with a brand new video platform that's recording, and so we're hoping that this all comes out and makes for some fun family viewing for everybody who's watching this on YouTube. And we're also, as we mentioned last week, we're now in full swing with all our different social media platforms. So if you're not following us on Instagram, Level Up for Realtors is do you call it a handle? Username?
Sure.
What's it actually called for Instagram?
I feel like it's a handle.
It's a handle.
It's a handle.
I used to work with a guy named Handle. You knew Handle.
Yeah.
There was a composer named Handle. Anyway.
Now we've got a Level Up for Realtors handle on Instagram.
Right on.
So check us out.
So yeah, and all the other stuff we'll talk about at the end. It's in the show notes. But for now, let's give you some stuff you want to hear, which is we are talking this week about the stuff, it's never a conclusive or full list, but the major stuff that we feel is necessary that you need to have on you if you're going to be prepared for everything as the MacGyver of real estate. The Realtor Toolkit, we like to call it.
MacGyver. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so, I mean, what do you want to do? Just jump right into this?
Well, I mean, we can, whenever we've got lists of things, I mean, we can categorize it, but honestly, we're going to go on a series of tangents, I'm sure, as we talk about it. So maybe let's just start with, you're driving in your car, you're a realtor. What are some of the things that are the must-have? You're going to be upset if you don't, and you're going to be thrilled that you do have them in your car, in your glove box, your trunk, whatever, that are going to help you do your job.
So number one, I'd say for myself, is a measuring tape. Whether you're listing a house, obviously, but also when you're helping buyers, whether that king-size bed is going to fit into the master bedroom or their massive car is going to fit into the garage, all those kinds of things, having a measuring tape, or if you're really ultra fancy, a laser measure.
If you're fancy, you have a laser measure. That is fancy.
Well, that's good also. Like if you want to verify, say like lot size, because sometimes the listings aren't that accurate. Surprise, surprise. If you want to do some quick measurements there, that's another great tool. So anything measurements wise, maybe not a scale. You don't want to weigh your clients or anything like that. But
that goes double for when you're going on buyer visits, I find, because a lot of the time when you're on a buyer visit, they're measuring stuff. Like sometimes they come equipped or that's their plan, but you want to have that on hand because that's when they're taking notes. They're starting to place furniture. And so, a measuring tape is key.
And that saves you an extra trip because I've had times where I haven't had a measuring tape. My clients haven't had one and they're like, well, can we just go back and make sure that this piece of furniture is going to fit? And if you can ask your clients if there's anything that you want to bring to this new house that might, you want to make sure it fits, have those measurements so that you can measure it when you're at the house.
Definitely. And if you don't have a measuring tape on you, you're listening to this right now as you're on your way to a showing and you're like, crap, I don't have it. But you do have an iPhone. It's not...
I don't.
Well, but I'm saying if you do, you don't. You're SOL with this particular pro tip.
I'm special. Android special.
You are special.
I'm sure there's an app.
There's
for
probably
Android.
not, but I'm just saying that iPhone users, the iOS operating system, comes equipped with its own little measuring app that you can use. It's not exact. It's in metric. It's not great. However, if you're in a pinch, if you have an iPhone, don't lose all hope. You can use that to measure straight lines. And it actually puts imaginary lines on the screen so you could see what they're measuring, which is kind of cool.
So fancy with
level.
your iPhone.
I know, it's next level.
Fancy.
But, okay.
All right.
So let's stick with actual tools then before we start to get to the other stuff. And why don't we talk about literally simple tools? Things like screwdrivers. If you've got one of those little multi-tools or one of those, like the present you got me, that credit card that's got 8,000 tools on it on a little credit card shaped thing. There's going to be all kinds of little things that it's nice to have the ability, now that we're allowed to touch things a little bit more, to just take a look at, tighten up. That being said, you don't want to be going into somebody else's house, especially on a showing, and taking outlet plates off and things like that. But it's nice to have tools, not even just for when you're with clients, but for when you're doing your job. The crap we run into that you're just going to say to yourself, if only I had a fill in the blank, and it's usually just a simple tool. Just have it on you for day-to-day life. It's useful to have a screwdriver, a hammer, things like that, because they'll help you with all the little who knows whats that you're going to run into. Yeah,
that's true. Another handy dandy tool, if you have one, is one of those, you stick it into a socket to make sure the electricity is working. I know a few agents that have that. That's kind of cool. I know that's something that a home inspector will normally do, but if you want to go that extra mile and just check those things out, that's a fun thing to have on hand as well. That could actually come into I don't know where I was going with that, but let's keep going.
Might be necessary. Okay.
It might be necessary. Yeah.
Let's talk about lock boxes. We always talk about lock boxes.
Let's do that.
And in addition to I like to always, and we've run into situations where we don't, have at least one lockbox in the car at all times that's available. And that's not because someone's going to call you and say, I need you to drop a lockbox off in the next 20 minutes, but it is because sometimes you're putting all the other stuff together for a listing, or the time comes where you realize there's a cleaner coming early or the photographer's coming early and there actually needs to be a lockbox set up. The number of times we've run to a Staples, a Home Depot, those are places you can get lockboxes, by the way, but spent an extra $50 that we could have avoided because we have 10 at home. Just have at least one in the car with you all the time because it's going to come in handy. And I want to segue that to the other, even more important lockbox tool, which is the de-icer. This is something we've given to all of our agents, and it's a weird gift to give your agents. But if you've ever been confronted with a frozen lockbox in the wintertime, it is not a pleasant situation. And we've tried a world of different things. You can take a flame to it. We've poured our hot coffee on it. We've talked before about how we've ultimately taken sledgehammers to lockboxes. But Lock De-icer is a great thing to have. It's a little container. It's, what is it, like a dollar store purchase, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cheap. So, have some of that in the winter, especially our Canadian winters. You definitely want to have that on hand.
Yeah, not in the summer.
For sure. Not in the summer. But another thing that is kind of like a little bit of a step further from the lockbox, but for females especially, we break our nails all the time on lockboxes, like when we're trying to open them up. So maybe some nail clippers will be good.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction there. Nail clippers. So you would sooner cut your nails to protect them, or is that if you break your nail, you trim it?
No. Yeah, if you're on showing to break your nail and you're like, no, it's not like got to open a lockbox.
That's a gamer. If you're just going to cut your nails so that you can open a lockbox. I'm like, I thought you were going to say
like,
a
and I mean,
glove or something.
I don't have fancy nails or anything like that, but like I have broken my nails quite a few times, and it's really annoying to then walk through like several more houses and have a full day of work ahead of you when you're dealing with a broken nail. So.
Well, okay, and I thought you were going to say gloves or something like some little like finger cover thing. I don't know what women use, but it does go into the way you dress and the stuff you have on hand, clothes-wise. Because that's another thing that you can't be prepared. Even when the forecast says something, it's not necessarily what you think it's going to be. Or if you're rushing out of the house or whatever. Obviously, umbrellas are nice to have on you. But even sometimes, I don't know about you, like a change of clothes is useful. Because if something happens when you're about to meet clients and you spill something, like I've gone to multiple showings and met clients with stains and with things or wet.
Or if you slip on a deck that's really wet and like get your white jeans soaking wet.
That's very specific.
That sucks.
That's very specific.
It is.
It's as if it's happened
but it happens.
to you.
Like we fall all the time. Not we don't fall. That's what we're talking about.
We fall all the time. For those of you who do fall all the time.
No, but these things happen.
The stories we could tell. And like this is like there was a time where I and my clients were locked outside of a condo and I had to climb down the side of the building and get dirty. Now, you don't need a Batman utility belt in your Realtor Toolkit, but that got me dirty and that would have lent itself to probably at least another pair of pants or something.
Well, and shoes is really important too. Not to have maybe extra shoes, but for showings to have shoes that aren't going to take you 5 minutes to take off. Even for guys, I know, especially my clients, like I'll see them and they're like sitting there tying up their shoes and untying. It drives them crazy. So if you can have something you can slip on and slip off, that makes a world of difference.
Just not like the sandals that I wear all day. Like don't go in like socks and sandals just because they're easy. But yeah, slip-on shoes is clutch. Like especially if you're the kind of person. Are you making fun of me saying clutch? I thought I said
clutch.
It's clutch. If you're the type of person who double knots your laces, like, and I am one of those people.
Like a 6-year-old boy.
I double knot my laces because
I double knot my laces.
My laces are too long. I don't want them hanging down the sides like bunny ears.
Yeah, and then you'll trip on them, and then you'll need a new pair of pants because you got your first ones dirty.
You know what we did? We just came full circle right there.
We did. Actually, can I go back to lock boxes before we continue?
I'm pretty sure you're the one who took us off of lock boxes. So
no, you took us off of lock boxes. You started talking about extra clothes. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's true. The nails was still lock boxes. Yeah.
It was.
It threw me off.
One of those decoders as well, like to change the code on your lockbox, because if you happen to forget your lockbox code, which has happened to me many times, to have one of those handy is really good. Not when you have it on the door, obviously, hopefully at that point you know what your lockbox code is, but if you're grabbing a lockbox and hopefully you've got different codes for your lockboxes, because you don't want to become that agent that's known to have that 1973 lockbox and then you're putting your clients in danger. So change the codes on your lockbox, have those decoders. It makes life a lot easier.
Right on. When you said decoders, I thought you meant like to go around to other people's lockboxes and pick locks with a decoder. That sounds really shady.
No. But having one of those is really useful.
It is. Okay, so more tools then. Simple stuff. You're going to want to have things like scissors, things like tape, things like zip ties. Zip ties are so, to me at least, they're important. I just ran into this this week where I left the bag that had a couple of these things we've mentioned already. A lockbox, zip ties, and tape were all left behind. And I got to my client's place ready to put up a new sign. And I'm borrowing zip ties from her, thankfully. But I had to go out and buy another lockbox. And in this particular case, the tape was used for putting my business card on the lockbox. But there's so many different reasons you can need this stuff. Just think like a parent. If you are a parent, you know what we mean. If you're not, just it's preparing for the worst, but not in like a catastrophic way. It's just the whole point of all of this, which we should have preambled this whole podcast with, is you want to be the person who is thinking ahead, the person who's prepared, who, when your clients are around, they're thinking, man, they knew what to expect here, even though it wasn't the for sure going to happen thing. And the more of these things that you have, and they're all, nothing we've mentioned so far is bigger than like the size of a baseball. I don't know why I use baseball, but relatively speaking. So have all that. Literally create your own kit. Create a little bag that you've got in the car that just sits in the trunk that has all this stuff. And there's probably more little things we can talk about, but there's also some big stuff that you're going to want to be able to have on you as well as you're going around.
Well, yeah, and scissors is a good one when you are putting up signs as well, because a lot of times if you've got the zip ties, they are longer, so you want to be able to snip those off and not have to have those things hanging out. Doesn't look very nice.
That's right. So that's not the nail scissors. These are scissors. I have nail scissors also, just clippers. Sorry.
Clippers. Yeah.
I used to use nail scissors when I was a kid, but now I use clippers.
Yeah, I used to as well. I don't know how I did that though, because I don't know. I feel like that I would cut my finger off.
Now I would.
If I tried those
but
now.
It was a transition from only knowing how to use scissors to that makes sense on my claws. But anyway.
What? All right. Anyway, moving on.
I'm losing you all over today. Losing
you are.
That's okay. It must be because I don't make any sense.
Maybe it's because we're not in the same room, and I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not giving you any... Well, you can see my face. Am I giving you the cues?
I can.
That's okay.
No.
Okay. You want me to jump in?
I will add... Yes, I'm going to jump in. It's not really like a tool, but like having your laptop with you when you're going on showings is really important as well, because if you do have a client that's calling you saying, I want to make an offer on this place, or if your client happens to want to make an offer and you want to try to get it in as soon as possible, trying to do that on your phone is very difficult. So if you can do it, if you have your laptop, you can do a hotspot with your phone and just get the offer off. It makes life a lot easier. And I've had to do that several times, and I'm sure most agents have done that. So just bring your laptop with you when you're on showings. You never know when you might need it.
Okay, so then tying into that, technology-wise, first of all, it goes without saying, have your phone. Don't leave your phone, but that goes without saying. But a charger for your laptop and for your phone. Make sure you've got a charger. And this isn't just for yourself, but you're going to have clients. If you can be the hero who has some extra juice that they can plug in when you're doing a showing because their phone is dead, these are just extra things that are helpful. But you definitely don't want your phone to go dead, especially if you rely on things like Google Maps or different apps. Maybe your showing software is on your phone. When we lose connection with this mobile world through our phones, you are a lost puppy right away. So make sure your phone is charged when you leave, but also make sure you have a charger with you.
Yeah, and especially with your computer, make sure you've charged your computer fully before, or your laptop fully before you leave, because with COVID especially, there was nowhere to like go to a cafe and plug in. Like you had nowhere to go. And do you remember, like, I don't know how long ago this was, when like Rogers went completely out in terms of data, like service?
It was like half a day.
And nobody even like Google Maps, like anything that you wanted to use, it was like, oh crap, I can't do that. Oh crap, I can't call. Like the only thing that was working if you were on like a wireless was WhatsApp, I think. Yeah. So like I had my clients on that for the day, but it was like, that was crazy.
Well, yeah. Like think of your job as you're prepared and you've got all the technology and all that, but you've also got to think primitive and think contingency planning with everything that you do plan that you know you're already doing. What if each and any of those things goes wrong? What do you have to cover you if that happens? Because we can tell you from experience, and you've probably experienced it yourself, it does go wrong. Things go wrong when you least expect and can handle them going wrong. And if you've got the right tool to take care of whatever that is, you're a hero, not just to your clients, but you're a hero for yourself and your stress level. So, okay, other things that you should have with you. We talked about clothes, and in case you soil yourself or whatever, or you were dealing with the elements or whatever, but also just personal care items. Things like maybe you are out at the gym, which is now open again, and you're sweaty and all that, and someone needs to see a place right away, or something needs to be done very quickly, and you're nowhere near your house. Change of clothes is good, but you might want to primp yourself up. And maybe the gym's a bad example because you'd probably be able to have the stuff with you at the gym. But let's say you've just had a long day out and you're a mess. Hello. Oh, we've got a friend on our video right now. Guest star. You're going to want to be able to have things very simple, like a toothbrush, maybe even just a stick of gum, hint, hint, wink, wink, you know who you are if you've got some stanky breath.
It's true.
Maybe you don't know who you are. Just have gum.
And floss. If you're like me, that gets things stuck in our teeth all the time. I mean, masks have helped that because then I don't have to worry about it so much.
True.
But
that's true.
But now, well, not now because we're still wearing masks. But yeah,
Speak for yourself.
Like when you're outside, like talking to a client, we normally take our masks off now. So yeah.
So another thing that goes without saying is have your business cards with you. Definitely have all your license and all those other things. But for identification, you want your business card. It's used in not just the cases where you want to leave it behind at a showing, but sometimes at a condo where there's a place there's security, they require identification that shows you with the brokerage. Also, if you're doing showings, sometimes you're showing a card to someone so that you can get the keys when you're trading off keys, things like that. But ultimately, just have your card on you. In general, forget doing showings. Yeah. You're out there and you're meeting people. You have your business cards, not so you can leave it behind at other people's homes that are listed by somebody else, but so you can make new connections and tell people who you are.
That's it. And I find with COVID, most people haven't wanted you to leave your business card anyway, which I always thought was a stupid thing to do. Like, it's just like, what, you're proving that you were at the house, I guess. But I still don't do it. Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing less of that requiring to leave the business card. It just adds to the clutter that's in the house anyway. So, but yeah, definitely having them on you. Like you're in line at Starbucks and somebody's talking about the market, like, you know, have it on you to like give it to people. Like there's nothing worse, and it's happened to me many times where it's like, oh yeah, like you start talking about the market and you tell them you're in real estate. Oh, give me your card. You know, maybe I'll reach out to you sometime, and it's like, crap, I don't have a card. Like it doesn't look very professional. So it's really good to have them.
Yeah. What? Oh, the dog agrees.
Yes, Finley agrees.
What about, this might get embarking too, but what about food, snacks?
Yep.
Stuff that's going to keep you going when you are running around all day.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to be like, I've been caught in the fast food drive-through hell where you spend a day just eating garbage all day because that's all you can muster up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give you the energy necessarily that you need. So have food on hand, have water, have drinks, have drinks, have a bottle of tequila in the car.
Well, and especially like me, when you have food allergies, to try to find places to eat or have a quick snack can be really frustrating. So the more you have on hand that you can just grab in the car, like apple, like fruit, like cut up vegetables, like if you can prepare ahead of time, like that kind of stuff will save you in the long run. There's nothing worse than being hangry on a showing and try to pretend like you're all happy and really in the inside you just want to like go eat a burger.
You just want to go eat a burger. That's right. What I'm thinking.
Yeah.
One thing that's been a challenge during COVID has been going to the washroom.
Yes.
Because places
so
aren't
what's a tool
open.
that you could use? Catheter?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, like have a catheter with you, or like just
or a
like
bottle.
Wear a bottle. Well, for men, wear a bottle. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's a discussion for a different podcast.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do.
I think that's more just a case of being prepared. Like, again, the parent mentality. If you know you're going out for a few hours,
go to the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah, just do it before you leave. Because I guarantee you, an hour in, you're going to have to pee. And then at every showing, you're going to be asking yourself whether you should use that person's washroom that you shouldn't be using.
Yeah.
Or where am I going to be able to stop on the way? Or what forest am I going to run into between showings?
Yeah.
So just be smart about it.
Sanitizer is a big one, obviously.
That's a good segue.
Yeah, and wipes. Like if you have baby wipes or like those other wipes that you can get at the dollar store or whatever, those are great to have. But honestly, if you go to Costco and get one of those big packages of baby wipes, those are really helpful, whether you want to like wipe a lockbox down, like not that really sanitizes, but I find when my clients used to come into my car and I wanted to just like, you know, wipe things down, sometimes things get gunky when you've been eating snacks or whatever in there, or like your coffee might have spilled over a little bit because it was too full. So having that kind of thing on you is really helpful as well.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier than, I mean, it's great to have cleaning supplies with you, like for a number of reasons. Maybe if open houses are starting more now, you might want to have stuff on hand that when you go and set up a place that you've got some stuff to clean it up. But the wipes, are just an easy way. It's not just for sanitizing stuff after the fact. It's like you said, it's for tidying stuff up really quickly before the fact to make it look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk about when you're listing a house, like what kind of tools and supplies that you might need for that. We talked a little bit about zip ties, scissors, that kind of thing. Posts, like, I mean, that's a bigger item, like your for sale posts.
You don't drive around with a big signpost in your trunk?
No, but I mean, there's two different types of agents. There's the agents that have their own, that they set them up themselves. So obviously, one thing we've learned the hard way is you need like an actual like sledgehammer and like something that you're not going to dent the post with when you're trying to hit it into the ground. Or if you've got somebody that supplies that for you, even better. That's what we've opted for. But
we've learned the hard way.
Yeah, well, especially if you guys are in Canada dealing with the winters, like to try to bang a pole into a frozen ground is really very difficult.
Especially if you're dealing with one of those thick ones.
Yeah.
If it's not just like a wire pole, which it probably isn't.
Yeah.
We'll always side with trusted professionals for stuff that we don't want to screw up or land up spending more money for anyway.
Even like the placement of the post, I would never know where to put it. So having somebody that knows what they're doing is really helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So other stuff for listings.
If you have your own post, you're going to want the post. You're going to want the sledgehammer. You're going to want a wood block that protects from smashing the post to death with the sledgehammer.
Not that we've ever done that.
That hasn't happened. We've smashed a lot of things to death with the sledgehammer.
I know.
It's a bad look. But okay, smaller stuff. If you are going to be putting any sort of marketing material in homes, you're going to want the stuff that actually displays that. So things like feature sheet holders, maybe a business card holder, maybe one that's integrated with feature sheets and a business card holder.
Fancy.
All in the same thing. I know. We're not really, unless you want to, going to get into the branded element of all this, but really anything we've talked about, there's branded and promo versions of all of that. If you're that type of agent who wants your logo on everything, I'm not saying that in a judgy way. It makes sense for some people, for other people.
Well, I mean, lock boxes is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like we've been in this industry for so long and we still have not gotten branded lock boxes. We're still taping our business cards on the back of the lockbox like a bunch of losers. And it's like, why don't we just get the branded ones? Not that you're a loser if you do that, because I know a lot of people that do, but
I know.
It's just so easy. Like, I don't understand why we don't do that.
And it doesn't cost anymore.
No, they're cheaper.
They're not
the branded ones.
I don't want to sound snobby. But they're not like the brands of lock boxes that are known to be a little bit better quality.
Okay.
However,
you get like one of those nice stickers or decals or decals, however you pronounce it.
That's going to be its own episode. Decal versus decal.
For the record, I say decal.
I say decal. Let's pause. Okay. So feature sheet holders, business card holders. There's lots of little signs that you might want to put up.
Remove
your shoes. There might be things that you make. Like, we like to do a lot of custom stuff, especially with COVID. You might have something that is a little bit of an instructional supplement to whatever goes out with showing instructions that's just at the door. You've probably seen your fair share of those.
Yeah.
Have that, and again, something to actually hold it up.
Yeah.
It looks a lot better. It seems like such a trite. What's the word?
I think it's trite.
Minor. Trite.
Yeah,
seems like a minor thing.
Yeah.
But if you just have a paper on a table versus a paper just in like a standing acrylic stand that'll cost you $4 at an office supply store.
Yeah.
It looks a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can reuse it.
Exactly. Like those, you've all probably seen like the little notes around the house, which is really nice sometimes, especially if you want to make sure you're highlighting certain upgrades that might get overlooked. And I've seen agents buy like little dollar store frames and just put them on tables throughout the house. One thing I find about that is if like your clients are living in the house, it could get a little frustrating for them to be dealing with all of these little frames on like the countertops, especially if they have kids. One thing we've done is we've put like the notes on the walls. If you can get a laminator, we've used our laminators so often, but if you laminate them and then put them on the wall, it just looks that much more professional. So I would say that too.
Pro tip. Yeah. So there's signs like that. There's notes on the wall. There might still be, and there probably are still, supplies you might want out that have to do with staying sanitary. Maybe you're leaving masks out. Maybe you want to have a bottle of sanitizer that gets left at the listing.
Yeah.
Again, you're probably going to have one with you anyway, which is useful as someone who's showing or listing. In today's day and age, you're going to want all that stuff. Gloves. Some people have shoe covers. That existed before COVID, just as a way for people who don't want to remove their shoes even to be able to walk through a home, to leave out those disposable shoe covers.
Yeah. Flashlight. Get a flashlight. That could be handy for going through houses. Well, no, especially
for lighting up space.
No, but if you're again, summer's a little bit different because it's lighter out longer. But if you're going through a house at 6 o'clock in the dead of winter, and there might be, if you want to go outside and you want to check out, like, what does the side of the house look like? All those little things that you're kind of looking at. I've actually had a house that gave me the instructions to bring a flashlight because they didn't actually have any electricity running into the house. So there's those things, but having that, you never know when you might need it. Even like if you see an inspector, usually they do have a flashlight and they're actually flashing it up in the daylight, just making sure like there's no like cracks in the ceiling and that kind of thing. So never hurts.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to stuff, just kind of high level stuff that you might want to have on you at all times, just as a realtor. So like, this is kind of like the quote unquote briefcase items, even though none of us carry a briefcase, but
we should bring the briefcase back.
We can try to do that. Maybe.
Did you ever have the briefcases with like it was like a lockbox
with like
that had
the
like
locks?
The little things, and my dad used to have one of those. My dad had one of those. They were fun to try to open and close.
I feel like I wanted one of those for a period of time because I did have like briefcasey stuff forever. I was
you were kind of a briefcase. Yeah.
I was a nerd. Like even in university, I feel like I had a briefcase.
You did.
Bag.
Yeah, you had like one of those, like, it wasn't like a briefcase, but it was like one of those things.
It was a nerd bag. It was a nerd bag. It was a nerd sack. It was my nerd sack. So for your briefcase or nerd sack, assuming you've done some of the stuff to prepare your business, things like buyer presentations, things like listing presentations, all that sort of stuff, even as weird as it sounds, copies of forms and things like that, the more of that stuff you can have on hand, just in a pinch for different conversations you might have. In our business, there's unique things that our brokerage offers. And if you've got the sorts of things that can supplement a business card, if conversation goes that far and you reach into your nerd sack and pull it out, it's really, again, these are all sort of filed under optional but nice to have, right?
Yeah.
And with a lot of these things that are involving giving to other people, whether it's marketing material, whether it's sanitizing stuff, we need to keep it under the umbrella of being non-creepy also. There's a real fine line between having stuff and giving it to them and taking it out of your jacket, like snack.
I love that your eyes lit up there. You're just like, oh.
But like snacks, for example, it's great. Like I've had snacks or I've brought a coffee or things like that for clients and it's fine. But, think about the difference between that and offering candy to your client's kid, right?
Have some candy.
I'm sure it happens. I'm sure there's people who have branded candy.
Maybe. Yeah.
That they give to people or their children. I mean, children is where it gets creepy.
Yes.
But I just think...
Don't give candy to children.
Don't give candy, Don't give candy to children. Don't take candy from children.
Yeah.
Just children and candy is not part of your job description.
Yeah. Kleenex, paper towel, that could always come in handy. Like if you're testing at
plastic bags.
Bidet. Yeah. Plastic bags. Towels.
Towels if you're testing a bidet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't test bidets.
No, but you know what? A towel is helpful because there's been times where I have trusted out the shower and maybe it's not. First of all, try to aim it into the bathtub or wherever, and it's not outside. But it's happened to me a few times where it's gone outside of the bathtub, and you want to have a towel that's not like the staging towel to, potentially clean that up. Not that I'm endorsing to make a mess of people's houses, but it's these little things that just happen that you never think in a million years that would happen to you, and it happens.
Well, and we had towels the time that the bidet exploded. We had to go to the car to get them, but we had towels and cleaned it up. It was someone else's listing. Also, if you are rightfully checking things when you're going through a showing, like if there's a leak, if there's dripping or anything like that, if in fact there is something that you find, you don't just want to leave a puddle somewhere because you've identified a problem. You should still clean up your mess, right?
Yeah. Or like
whatever you do, clean up your mess.
If you have you're not going to bring coffee into the house, but I don't know, just all these little things that, sometimes you just spill, like knock something over. I don't know.
The list goes on. I mean, I think the moral of the story here is a lot of stuff happens. You're never going to have everything, but you should be prepared with the bare essentials of the stuff that is at least more than 50% likely to happen. Yeah. Right? And there's no harm in just loading up your car now or your nerd sack with a selection of stuff and just have it. And you don't have to think about it, and it'll be there, and you'll go, oh man, I do have paper towel in the trunk. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. One random thing that I think if you're in Toronto, especially, a marble to put on the floor to make sure it's like a level floor. Like I've heard of agents doing that, and I've done it a few times. Not that you really need it.
It's very specific. A marble. It's very be anything specific. That's a sphere.
A
sphere.
But a marble is
A marble's good. If you have a marble, bring a marble.
Your credit card, obviously, if you're going to be paying for parking. I'm talking about like downtown condos, but if you got the Green Pea parking app on your phone, that's really handy to have.
Well, that's also what's important. Like now, especially, have the right set of apps on your phone. Yeah. Have the parking app. Have your showing app if you have one. Yeah. If you're able to pay for things through your phone, do that. Mm-hmm. Your Rico app if you're in Ontario or whatever association you're a part of. Yeah. Yeah. If your license can be associated with your phone, have it on there. Have everything you can on your phone. And then don't forget it.
Yeah. Or don't run out of batteries. Have a charger too. Yeah.
Yeah. Because also even apps associated with searching up properties quickly or booking showings quickly. Because when you're out and you see a for sale sign and your client says, hey, can we see that now? Yeah. Or hey, what's the deal with that one? It's a lot easier to be able to look it up real quick. Right. Than to say, I'm going to have to go back home and I'll send you the details tomorrow.
I hope you don't do that. Showing. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's easier not to do that.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway. So we would love for you to send us your things that you have used or wish that you had in different situations. Let us know the kinds of things that are useful or disagree with things that we've said, because maybe we're out to lunch on certain things. Maybe you don't like a nerd sack. That's on you.
Or maybe you're offended by a nerd sack, in which we will rename it. And
I've used it, and I am a nerd. So, when I use it, it's a nerd sack. Maybe when someone else uses it, it's a satchel. I don't know what it would be called. But as always, we appreciate you listening. We are on Instagram, Level Up for Realtors. We are on Facebook. The group name is also Level Up for Realtors. You can join us there, where there's all kinds of content in addition to the podcast and resources. We will make our entire Realtor Toolkit available. If you'd like it, just send us your email address and we will put the details on how to do that. And we can send it over to you. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, keep following us, like and subscribe. And we look forward to talking to you on the next episode of Level Up.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Level up.